Country, what is up? Welcome to the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast. I'm going to be your conductor on this episode here, and there's a lot of things to talk about on a random Tuesday of the offseason. The tea is going to get spilt on maybe some insiders that think they're more inside than they are. Some community notes to that. Obviously, I'm talking about the Gronkowski news, but we got a lot of stuff to dive into. And on top of that, I got a special guest for y'all. So it's going to be a real good show. And I'm excited to do it up with you guys tonight. So without further ado, let's get on into it.
Smooth, the pins to chew, breaking down plays about to debut. Never pride in every view, nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Bright lights of my heart in our view. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. From draft picks to game reviews, celebrating wins, analyzing the clues. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. No orange and blue.
Nothing rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast.
Like starting off with celebration music. For myself, I am running a solo show here. My cousin Johnny is off and away on an escapade for the night, so you're stuck with me, Broncos Country. But thankfully, you're not stuck with just me. You've got a really awesome guy in the Broncos community that I have connected with via X in the old Twitter out there. And I'm really happy to have him by my side tonight, picking up the slack from my cousin, but before we get him in here, before I give him his grand entrance, I did want to say, welcome to the Nothing Rhymes in Orange and Blue podcast. I am your host, Jay the Dream Weaver, back to you with another fine episode of the weekly flagship podcast on yours truly, the Orange and Blue Network. If you haven't already, please find our show offerings. Please like, share, and subscribe. We've got you covered on all of your, podcasting host needs there, whether it be YouTube, X, Facebook, and Twitch out there. And also, while you're at it, don't forget our sister station, within partnership, MHRT Network. Please like, share, and subscribe over there as well. They've got a slew of fantastic offerings for shows. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't get what my cousin calls the housekeeping out of the offerings already. It's Dubby. You know what it is. It is our sponsor for every show. I'm not going to be as good at this ad read as my cousin. I just know it, but that's okay. No calories, no sugar, no maltodextrin, no fillers, and no artificial colors. We all love Dubby. It's good stuff. I got it right here. Been sipping on this for quite some time. I know my cousin's a big believer in this product as well. The link is in the bio of this podcast. And while you're on there, get yourself a little 10% off little gift on us. Punch in that code NRWOT to get yourself 10% off and get yourself the dub. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to a major player in the Broncos Country Twitterverse. It is dun 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 dun. Fanatic Dak. How you doing?
What's
there,
up, man?
Fanatic
Thanks for
Dak?
having me, Jay.
Oh yeah,
I'm so glad
man.
that I could join you, man. When you reached out to me to see if I could be a guest, I was thrilled, man. I was just like, oh my God, this is something I've always wanted to do. So thank you so much for sharing your light with me tonight, man. I appreciate that.
For sure, dude. This is, we're pretty dang lax. Like, I am a Broncos media connoisseur, and I truly I boast myself for that because I spent a lot of time digesting everybody's perspectives and looking at all the main accounts of Broncos Country, and we've got a lot of what I would consider professional content creators that are super polished. They know exactly what they want to say. They have, specific sources to back that content up. But honestly, since we've started this network and since we've been rolling with this podcast, and I guess I don't even know if you know the background of this, Dak, but we've been going at this for about 3.5 years or so. But man, we're fan-led. We're novices, and we kind of boast ourselves as novices. We are fanalists. I'm not a professional. I'm a fan that likes to digest as much information about the Broncos. So, man, and you seem like you're cut from the same cloth, but
yes, definitely.
I want to give you a platform, man. I want to hear about your Bronco fandom. Why are you a Bronco fan? Why are you so passionate about the Broncos? Where do you come from in that regard?
Well, definitely, I was born in Denver, so that's a big reason. I grew up as a Broncos fan. My mom, a lot of my family members are Broncos fans. I've always have followed them since I was a little guy. Probably I would say 7 years old, something like that.
Sure.
And I've just continued, and I'm looking to pass it on to the generation, to my little boy, But for now, that's a conversation between my wife and I for later down the road because she's a Raider, man.
Oh my God! And you married her? Wow!
It's a rivalry, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's just one of those
Good
things.
for you for looking past the elephant in the room there. That's awesome.
On the aspect of me being on Twitter, I created the account, I want to say back in 2021, when COVID hit or whatever, I don't know if we're supposed to say that on here. But anyway, I just wanted to connect with other Broncos fans, other, like you said, the professionals on there, just to kind of learn things from them, connect with other fans and kind of get a gist of their different views, because just because my view, it doesn't always make it right. You know what I mean? So I like to bounce things back and forth. You see me on X asking questions and getting other people's perspective because ultimately it's supposed to be fun and that's what we're supposed to be doing anyway. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty active doing that and I just really enjoy it. I also like to challenge myself. My family probably gets driven up the wall from just watching me talk sports, hearing me talk sports, But, and then it's like my wife sometimes will tell me, you know what, Dakota, you need to just go do something different. This isn't working out for me.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, dude, that's just where I'm at. Fanatic Dak is what I go off of. My name's Dakota, but Dak, so. I just thought it would be cool to use, as a username on Twitter and just ran with it. Some of my family members call me Dak. They were messing with me and we just ran with it, because they were Cowboys fans. So that's a little background story of why I'm a Broncos fan and why I'm active on Twitter. So I appreciate that, man, for you having me on.
That's good, dude. And like yourself, you don't always have to come to the same conclusions as, the big personalities of Broncos media. I certainly disagree with quite a bit of them a lot of the times. I'm outspoken and saying I know you got all the data points in the world that points to this conclusion, but man, the whole point of being a fan is to be in your name like you have a fanatic. And that is a hyper emotional state of being where, you don't have to always make logical sense. It is, truly drawing from, your heart and what your gut says and what your eyes tell you. And I think there's always going to be a place in sports for that. We've definitely dove into a world of sports that is highly analytical. And
oh my God, it's changed so much.
If you don't have stats to support what you say, then you're obviously wrong.
It's
And
not
in a lot of
concrete,
other
right?
places in society, that may be so. But in sports, it's a subjective thing, man. Because at the end of the day, like, man, we're just here to have fun. We're just here to chop it up and talk about our favorite interests. So
And that's what it should be about, man. Having fun. I think that's something that gets missed with all the analytics. You know, you lose that good time with talking sports, and
yeah,
you see the negativity on X or whatever hub, you know, that people talk sports on, you know, and it's kind of lost its I don't know what the word I'm thinking of right now, but it just isn't the same like it used to be. When you're talking ball, people get disrespectful, but
sure.
that's why you notice me when like you can have a disagreement and not agree with something, you know, on somebody's take on the sport, you know.
Yep.
But that's where I'm at with that. So
the group think we are in. Seriously, I wish I would have told my cousin to label this show as group think season, because my God, if you don't think Loveland is going at 20 to us, then you're obviously wrong. Everyone and their dog has us drafting either Loveland or Genty or
that's the consensus. It seems like more Loveland, you know, the pick at 20, but
it's laziness, man. It is group think, copy and paste, that no one wants to have a independent idea to themselves, and it's just so easy to piggyback off of some other draft expert saying, well, this is what I think. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, we live and breathe this team. National writers and national mock drafters have no idea what our true, like, behaviors are of George Payton. We have dissected these drafts from him for so long that I feel like we kind of know better than maybe your Mel Kipers. I know that's blasphemy to say, but, like, how much does he really know George Payton?
I agree with you, Jay, because here's the thing, man. I've totally tuned out a lot of the national analysts, you know, and media, and tuned into the local content creators, or like DMGR, or, you know, those other local hubs or whatever, to because they know what they're talking about. They cover their team. They're here all the time. You know, they see them every day. They don't just give some BS take, and, you know, so that's why I've really tuned out a lot of the ESPN and all that, and really like made it to watch all the local podcasts.
I mean, it is clickbait season, as they say, and we are in full capacity of clickbait season, and we'll get into that. Cecil Lamey. But we'll get into all of it, I'm sure, down the line here in this podcast here. But I did want to take a hot second and appreciate some of the chatsters in here, the frequent flyers, as we do. We got David Yonkin in the house. He's got obviously always some great takes. He says he's been a fan since '83, year of the Elway. Man, yeah, dude, that's a old school fan there, David Yonkin, and we definitely appreciate that. I mean, you've got the experience that none of us probably do in the fandom of the ups and downs of our Denver Broncos. Let's see here. Who else we got? We got our D-Rock in here. D-Rock. Let's talk some ball, folks, for sure. And then we got the pregame hype man himself, Shai Vargas, in the chat. Thank you, Shai, for joining the chat tonight. Always appreciate you. And, you know, D-Rock wants to say Dubby does taste pretty well. And D-Rock is one of the frequent flyers that has bought Dubby. He is a believer in Dubby. So we always appreciate that, D-Rock, for sure.
Nice.
And then, we have, and Fanatic Dak, we have an arch nemesis in our chat. Almost all
bring him up here. Let's see.
He hasn't been around for quite some time, but he's rearing his ugly head tonight. He's coming out of the woodworks. Here he comes. His name is none other than Boo Broncos. He comes in with a boo. Now, his profile picture is the Cleveland Browns, because he did come out originally as the Boo Broncos on that Monday night Cleveland game. And so he wanted to be a Cleveland fan that night, and I guess that has lasted until today. So, thanks for joining us, Boo Broncos.
Thanks for joining us. Yeah,
you know, you're not trying if you don't have haters. That's what I always
You're not doing it right then if you don't have haters, right?
That is
Exactly.
right. That is right. Shy, congratulations. You got a Bo Nix jersey. And Shy, on that occasion, can we just take a hot second and say happy birthday, Bo
Happy
Timothy
birthday, Bo Nix.
man, our
Woo!
quarterback, our guy, our main squeeze, our hope of light. It is his B-day, because it's your B-day. Dude, thank God. Thank God for Bo Nix. God bless Bo Nix. He's changed
Quarter
my life.
century
I'll
old
tell you
today,
that.
huh?
But yeah, man, Bo Nix birthday. That's some good stuff in and itself. Let's see here. Oh, all right. Yeah, a couple more boo Broncos. Yeah, a couple more boos. All right,
Boo
right. Here we go. 6'10" Mexican, Adon Diaz in the house.
Oh, I
Appreciate
gave
the
him a
sentiment,
follow.
but I'll pass on Gronk. And we're gonna get into the Gronk news, man. A 6'10" Mexican, by the way. Broncos talk on Wednesday nights. Fantastic show. Him and Bronco Libre do both the Broncos talk on Wednesday, which is, the English. And then on Friday, they do Viva Los Broncos, the only Spanish Broncos podcast out there on every Friday night on our network. So appreciate you being with us, Adon Diaz there. Let's see here. Oh, Broncos suck. Now, this is a different version of Boo Broncos. It's like their sister flagship. They're Colts fans. I don't know when that originated.
Colts always grow up to be Broncos, though, as they say.
True, dude. That's one of my favorite sayings,
yes,
especially
sir.
to the jokester that does the pregame videos.
Yes, I know.
Always great, man.
Yes, dude.
Let's see here. I want to get into a couple of things. I don't think we spoke about this last week. D-Rock says, if we can't say yay to Von Miller, then we have to say nay to Gronk. What a good sentiment, because it's kind of one and the same argument, to be quite honest. We didn't talk about Von Miller, but Dak, I want to give you the floor. What are your thoughts on a Von Miller reunion? Are you for or against that?
So here's my thing, man. I'm against it. I love the player. The history, everything. He was very important to that Super Bowl 50 run, as he was the Super Bowl 50 MVP. Here's my thing, though. And Sean Payton, he seems like he's not wanting to bring back the old, the old era. He's rocking with the new era, Bo Nix, the PS2s, all that. That doesn't seem like
young and hungry.
And like I said, I love Von Miller. Don't get me wrong. I have so many posters, jerseys of him, you name it. But here's the thing. He's going to take away snaps from Jonah Alice. And I want to see him develop. It looks like he came on strong, towards the end. Yes, he had those injuries and stuff. But ultimately, I want to see a lot more growth within our young players as well, right? And I think that's what Sean's looking to happen as well. Why sign him to a contract on a minimal deal when you have Jonah Alice sitting here that could actually even benefit that much more, So that's just my take on it.
No, and that's fair. And I said similar things in previous weeks on a lot of chats of like, at the end of the day, guys, like, we haven't paid Nick Bonito. We haven't seen a whole slate of multiple repetitiveness of what performance we just got last year. Right. And adding a vet to his same position, and really honestly kind of a clone to him, with the bend and the speed, would only take snaps away from the viewership that we need from Nick Bonito specifically. But Ellis is a whole nother, person that we want to see more of. You're totally right in that. But in the same breath, he's a living legend. He's Von Miller, man. Like, you can't. That's like telling your oldest kid he's not allowed to come home. Like, you're always welcome home. You can always, like, I don't care what the world does to you. You're always welcome to come back home.
Yeah.
So I got mixed feelings to that. Let me say, I guess I think he would be a better suited vet to come home than someone like Justin Simmons. I guess I would say that. What do you think?
Oof. Justin Simmons too, man. That's my guy too. It's so hard. It's so hard. You got me there.
So gushy about Justin Simmons. I've never been. My cousin is too.
But you know what? Von Miller's always been more near and dear to my heart, dude. So Von Miller would be my guy honestly.
Sure.
So I agree with you.
David Yonkin comes in. It's like an ex-girlfriend. That's why they call it an ex. Go away. I get it. You know, you got rid of her for a reason, right? You know, remember the reason. Don't remember the good times. Remember the bad times, because that's why you're not with her, right? I don't know, but let's see here. Broncos suck also. Like fun video, cringe level expert. Wish I could have double tapped to unsee. Well, you know what? That's too bad for you, bud. All right, as the old John Elway quote goes. Good for you, bud. Let's see here. D-Rock says, I'd like to have Vaughn come back, but at what cost though?
The contract you're talking about?
Von Miller. And this was another nice tagline, like, you know, if the glove fits, you must acquit.
Yeah.
On the vet min, I'm in. That's it. Vet min, I'm in.
Vet minimum's out, yeah, dude, because he's definitely lost a step for sure. So
for sure, absolutely. And David Yonkin says, "Yeah, I want Vaughn to come back if he's going to retire." And yeah, I think that's
I can see that.
Yeah. He's going to get a one-day
contract. He signs it
no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Let's see here. We got a couple other rando comments that I wanted to get to here. David Yonkin coming in here. The problem with a lot of people is that they don't realize how good tight ends and running backs are in the draft this year. So that's a good bridge to another topic here, Dak. And I want to get into, you know, obviously we're in the combine week here. This is the meat and potatoes of the underwear Olympics. This is where a lot of measurables come in that we can kind of understand, you know, what certain opinions are of certain teams about position of needs. You know, we had, my God, a 45-minute press conference from Sean Payton today, dissecting what he thinks of what positions are necessary. You know, going back to the old, you know, the Kay Adams, what's a want, what's a need, what's a have to have. I forget exactly what the wording was of that interview was, but obviously the big tagline have been Joker. We got to find a Joker. What's a, you know, who's a Joker? What position's a Joker? What's our favorite Joker in the draft? Dak, in all the discussion of draft position and where we're going with this, what say you as far as the Joker position for the Broncos?
Running back.
Running back.
So here's the thing. I'm a big Colston Loveland guy. I get all that. Hearing what's been, you know, at the press conference with Sean Payton and hearing what they're saying. And I actually asked this question to Benjamin Albright today on X about if he'd be shocked if they would take a running back. He doesn't think he wasn't shocked. He wouldn't be shocked at all. Sure. You know, my thing is I could see Marion Hampton, a Travion Henderson, and I won't be shocked. One of those two dudes are going to be the next running back in the draft, and I'm all for taking a running back in the first round.
So, okay, let me ask you this then. There's been a lot of discussion about running backs that might jump up to the first round. But then in the same breath, there's a lot of discussion about how the running back class is so deep that Jonty could drop so far because people see the option of drop off of like, why wouldn't I draft a third rounder that's like, sure, he's not Jonty, but like he's going to be doable. He's going to be a starter in the NFL. Like there's that many starter quality running backs.
It's a deep class, man.
Why would you spend a first round on them?
Well, that's tough, man. Because I mean, I guess it typically it all comes down to who's on the board, right? Who's there on the board?
Yes.
You got to look at that. That's a big thing. Because if you have like just an example, Walter Nolan sitting there, and you have to choose between him, maybe Colston Loveland and Jonty. I'm just giving this, you know, as an example.
Sure.
Who are you going to go with out of that? That would probably, I think a lot of people would expect Jonty to me.
Yep.
But Walter Nolan, you've seen watching the Eagles, what they just did in the Super Bowl, just rushing forward without having to blitz. Like, you know, it's monkey see, monkey do kind of thing, you know. So it's a copycat league, I guess you could say. So
it is. And I've always taken the approach to the first round, only the first round specifically, that it should be a best player available, how the draft falls. But I think it also, to take another step back here, and this is kind of something that me and my cousin have debated on a couple shows back, is in order for us to determine what side of the ball to focus in on, I feel like we need to come to the assumption or the conclusion that, are we needing to draft tools to further the analysis of Bo Nix as the starter? Like, that we need to add to his cabinet of weapons to truly get the full picture of what Bo Nix is? Or do we automatically say, like, hey, Bo is our guy no matter what, and that he's already passed the litmus test and he's already going to be our starter for his entire rookie contract? Because if you come to that conclusion, in my mind, then you need to enter into the strategy where, how can I get my team into a Super Bowl window as quick as possible while that rookie is on a rookie contract? And to me, that swings far closer to a best player available, and how do I make my overall team better in comparison to, I'm not sure on Bo Nix, I need to surround him with better weapons because of Bo Nix. What do you think on both sides of that?
You know, and I could see both sides. I get both sides of the coin. You know, I understand that. But we've seen this offense, and you kind of owe it to Bo Nix to give him the talent around him. You know, we've been through how many seasons, Jay, of constantly, like, that's and why I say running back. If that game against Buffalo, if we had a solid running game, you keep the defense off the field, and also you make third down more manageable. Okay, so I think I'm all about offense, and more offense, because ultimately we've been. I mean, granted, Bo Nix did raise the floor this year compared to Russell Wilson not taking sacks. But if you're able to run the ball, that helps your quarterback so much. Not just as a rookie, but and veterans, everybody. You see it with all quarterbacks. If they have a solid running game, you look at the Eagles, what they just did with Saquon Barkley. Like, it's just, to me, it's a no-brainer to surround Bo Nix with talent, and I hope that they would do that, and I expect, it's a deep class, but at least if you come out between the first. With the first 3 rounds of, like, getting your running back, getting your tight end, getting your defensive line. I don't know if you've seen me post that on X.
Oh yeah, big believer.
Within those first 3 picks, you're sitting pretty, and this draft is a home run in my opinion.
Yep, and D-Rock follows that up like, what are your thoughts on defensive tackle Derek Harmon and the Ole Miss guys who you just stated, like, We've spoke a lot about interior, and I've always been, and this is something that I totally agree with my cousin. My cousin has had this opinion for quite some time, is that the mantra that Sean Payton had said all last year of young and hungry, I kind of lean towards that was more of an offensive mantra because of how young our offensive core was, not necessarily our defense. Like, our defense has a little bit more age and a little bit more season to them. And I also, in the same breath, say that free agency yields closer to defensive talent than offensive talent, because if you're an offensive talent, you're not going to get released by a team.
It's funny you touch on the young and hungry term, right? Because when I think about it, I'm looking at both sides of the ball. Just the whole core itself is when I think of young and hungry to me. Not one specific side of the ball, but as the whole, like the PS2s, the Nick Bonito, Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims. Like, we've invested draft, capital in these players, and we have a solid base, So when they say young and hungry, that's to me what that is, that core that you've built on.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're totally right. It's always a interesting dynamic of culture. And I think that kind of ties in of, like, if you have an entire core that is all the same age or all the same, a bracket in the lifespan of an NFL player, then they can grow together. But if you just throw a random, and this is why I was kind of against, someone like a Stephon Diggs or someone like an offensive presence that would be maybe an upgrade, but like would he fit a culture of where our offense is in the timeline of our team right now? And you honestly could say the same thing from a personality standpoint in the draft. You've heard some head case kind of things about Luther Burden, for an example. I love Luther Burden personally, but he is he's going to be a diva. He's going to be a me, I want my targets kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather have, your Loveland or your Warren, who's just a grinder that doesn't care and just
another guy?
There's a lot of multiple
factors that go into drafting and evaluating these guys coming into the draft, and I'm glad I don't really have to be the guy that makes that hard decision ultimately.
Oh my God, yeah, man,
it's
so hard.
That's the nice part.
and at the end of the day, to a certain kind of point, we are kind of wasting our breath with the thoughts of what we would be doing in the draft, because at the end of the day, there's a reason why free agency comes before that
first, and that'll give you a better gauge of what's going to happen.
Oh, absolutely. Whomever we pick up in a free agent manner will dictate where we go in a draft need sense. And it's still, in my opinion, it's not going to be first or even probably second round, but you're talking third and back. That's when you feel your needs. We're going to get a running back. We're going to get a tight end. It's just where,
whatever.
I guess this is as good of any segment into, but let me throw another one up here. D-Rock saying, with all due respect, Vaughn and Gronk are over the hill. Let's talk about today's hot news. Today's hot news. Thank you, Cecil Lammy, for once again in another season, quote unquote, butchering the projection of the tight end room. Last year, he thought Lucas Kroll was the best player on the team, and Lucas Kroll was god awful. Didn't ever get any opportunity. But now, second edition Cecil tinfoil hat. Rob Gronkowski coming back, training in Vail, Colorado, in elevation to get back into football shape. We've all seen the conspiracy theorist videos from the Super Bowl between Sean Payton and Gronk. And those
2023, right? Was that video that surfaced today on X?
Correct.
Yeah.
But I mean, and hey, one thing I'll say is that Cecil is not a clickbait person necessarily, but he can be led astray.
Yeah.
In the history of what I've at least observed Cecil to be as far as source material. And you can say the same thing about someone like Benjamin Albright, in my opinion, because there are things that he's smack dab on, like, he knows exactly what he's talking about. And then there's other things where, that didn't really come into fruition.
And Jay, I think that's just something that comes with the territory, man. You trust. It's like an informant. You trust your informant if you're in law enforcement, right? You trust your guy.
Yep.
But if because you've had that chemistry, you're like, their word is bond. Why wouldn't I trust them? But then this comes out like Cecil. He probably trusted his sources. They led him astray, like you said, and so I get it. That's probably that's a tough job that they have. You know what I mean? To constantly always expected to be perfect in what they do. And I get it. There's a standard, but ultimately they're people and they're gonna make mistakes, and that's how I look at it.
They are, and again, it is just all too convenient that news like this rears its ugly head on Combine Week, where everyone is in Indianapolis at the same time, at the same restaurants and bars till 1-2 in the morning, drinking cold pops and shooting the shit. And every single year around this time, you get crazy rumors spreading about.
Yeah,
that make no sense. But
and Albright literally posted this is fake news season, so be aware. And like here we are today with the fake news of Gronk.
I mean, Ian Rappaport was real quick to be
Oh.
like, untrue, nothing, like unbased.
Shut it down. Boom.
Not even worth another word in this tweet to respond.
I even had some of my friends message me immediately. Oh, did you see Gronk? I'm like, it's not gonna happen. Don't worry about it.
David Yonkins, Gronk's doing that pizza commercial, eating all that pizza. And I would say, yeah, but dude, he also lost a crap ton of weight after leaving the game. Like,
that's an interesting point, dude, because he's gonna have to build up to that playing. What do you call it? Weight. You know what I mean? Yeah. Add weight.
That was
how long is that gonna take him? And then how is he going to be ready by come training camp and all that? I don't see that. That's the other thing I was looking at. Yeah, so
he's not
happening.
And you can say, well, he's training in elevation, and that will accelerate the the incubation process of getting in shape and getting in football shape. And but man, the best thing about Gronk in his history was that he was dual in a tight end sense, and you could say the same thing about Kelsey, is that he was that massive wide receiver, but he also could block his ass off. He was also great line of scrimmage tight end, and at his current weight, that ain't gonna happen.
He's a dog, man.
The way
He's
it is
one of my favorite tight ends.
And I guess not to compound this, but like, it's also kind of interesting to think about why it would be tied to the Broncos specifically. Like, I know we have a crazy need for tight end, but to me, that's
reaching for stars.
All too convenient for tight end crazy tight end news to happen for our team when tight end is our biggest need. And it has been floated for everyone that we're taking a tight end first round. Don't you think that's a little too convenient for, that may be tinfoil hat me talking, but like someone's trying to get the sniff off of that we're taking a tight end. Well, if Gronk comes, they're obviously not taking a tight end first round. But
it was leaked out for a reason. Yeah.
Correct. It was strategic.
Especially with like Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren, their names are jumping up the board, even though I know Kamar Warren's going to be gone. But Colston Loveland, I heard he's going to go at least 18 at minimum.
Pro Football PFF has Loveland above Warren now in some mocks. Like, the ascension for Loveland has been nuts, in my opinion. I know our guy, Isaiah Henderson, founding father here at the Orange and Blue Network, he gushes over Loveland, just couldn't be more enamored with him. And the videos he shows are amazing. And he gets off the line incredibly smoothly.
You can do so much with them out of the slot, line him up outside. There's so many things. It'd be fun to have. It'd be definitely a fun toy to have in our offense.
It's true.
It's true. Can I point something out to you real quick, Jay, though?
Absolutely.
It's like this Colston Loveland thing, and I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but you see the constant Bo Nix mocks last year, okay? Constant. That's kind of what I feel with Loveland, you know what I mean? I kind of feel with him, it's kind of like destiny, even though a lot of fans don't, they're kind of bored with it. Him constantly being mocked to us. Like I said, I'm a big fan of him, but I also have in mind of entertaining other players, you know what I mean? Like I said, running back, I'm not going to be shocked if Denver takes that position whatsoever. Yeah. So it does have that feel to Bo Nix where you're constantly seeing Bo Nix was mocked to us every mock until the draft, and we drafted him. But Colston Loveland has that same feel.
And I will say, I'm going to bring up another, David Yonkin comment here. He said weapons could be safety, pass rusher, or another player like that. We are discounting the fact of best player available, I think, a lot in the first round because we have the needs of tight end and running back that are just so glaring that it's like, well, they're going to take one of those positions. And there are at those positions such top heavy players that would justify a first round draft pick. Like, no one would be surprised. That's why we keep getting mocked to those two positions. But, there's it's just interesting. Just when we go through the combine week here, and by the end of this week, I think we'll have a pretty good indication of where a lot of other teams are slating their picks as well. I mean, I was really surprised for some of the names that were scheduling interviews with Jonty, mainly the Baltimore Ravens. Why are they scheduling with Jonty?
They're getting a fill. They're getting fillers of where he's going to land. I bet you. Like you said, I don't know why the Ravens are, but I saw the big list. But the thing that stood out to me, and also Kinley on Twitter posted, or X, whatever. Noticed the Cowboys and the Raiders, weren't in on those discussions. And my response to that was, they're holding their cards close to their vest.
Yeah,
they're not going to show that their interest, because if they do, people see that they're going to be jumped for Janty. For sure. You know what I mean? For
sure. And I would say the same thing about the Indianapolis Colts, because there were a lot of rumors that they don't want to pay Jonathan Taylor, and they're kind of going to wash their hands.
That was a surprising one to me.
A reboot. Yeah. They're not even sure about Richardson. Chris Pollard was saying that they're going to bring in competition for Richardson. It's going to be an open competition in training camp. What a joke for a top 5 quarterback drafted. Unbelievable. You bench him, don't give him an opportunity. Dude, just the dumb do dumb things. And, you shouldn't be, I guess, surprised by dumb people doing dumb things. But, man, that's why some organizations just suck all the time.
They're like, they're stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, purgatory. Exactly right. All right, we got the CEO, the captain, almighty captain. What's up, everyone? Dak, thanks for joining and holding it down for me. Just to let you know, this does not make you CEO.
I've seen your pods. It's a tough act to follow. So hopefully I'm at least filling in some kind of hole.
Absolutely. I know the Altitude Adjustment podcast with Mario Ventesi. If you've ever watched him, dude. Their whole team, I would say for the last 3-4 podcasts has been filling holes. And I constantly will poke the bear of you guys filling a lot of holes this week? Yeah. Got big holes to fill?
Crazy, huh?
Oh, we got our guy Richie Rich. He is the resident Canadian in the MHRT family here. So he is the Bronco representative north of the border. Appreciate you being here, Rich.
Thank you, Rich.
Here. Johnny says, why would they be sure about Richardson? He's a bum. Well, it's not that he's not a bum. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but he's not being given a fair shot, in my opinion.
But we look at Bryce Young as a player to compare to,
Yeah.
And you saw his rise second half of the season. He woke up. They're ready to build around him, I bet you, this go around. So.
Well, and Bryce Young was benched because it seemed like he was overwhelmed and was starting to see ghosts, and you could see
he was seeing ghosts, dude. He was.
But in the same breath, Richardson was sat down because he literally took himself out of a game because he was tired.
There is a difference.
Those two are not the same.
Right.
Wrong hole. And I added a wrong hole in that, Johnny. So, so one other thing, I just want to put a bow on the Gronk discussion. I will say, where there is smoke, sometimes there is fire. And I would never in a million years would have guessed that Mr. Tim Tebow would have tried an NFL comeback as a tight end when Urban Meyer was coaching the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the egotistical superstar that is Gronk, media personality, thinking that he can just do anything, is very similar to the aura that Tim Tebow has. So I know this is very far-fetched and probably riffraff, but I'm not also going to be that surprised if Gronk says, well, hell yeah, I'm training. Let's go.
That's true.
And someone's going to take a chance on him. You bet your bottom dollar he's a Hall of Famer. He's won, 4 Super Bowls and 11 seasons played? The guy's a G.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like,
And like
I'm
you
not
said,
gonna
where
get upset if we take a chance on him.
Jay, you said where there's smoke, there's fire, but the fire ain't here in Denver, bro. It's elsewhere out there. You know what I mean? So.
But it should be like, wouldn't you rather have Gronk in training camp, even if he's a cut at the end and it doesn't work out, compared to Chris Manhertz or Michael Burton or some other just throw-in player that, like, my God, why are we wasting?
It'd be a cute story, but come on now. That's all it's gonna be is a story.
It's true, a lot of media hype, but something tells me the arrogance of our head coach kind of likes that. Like, Sean Payton's all about that game of national spotlight and notoriety. That's why he goes on those national media tours.
Oh yeah, and I don't know if sometimes you think he's spilling tea, but he's luring you for a reason.
Redirecting you. Yeah, correct.
The JJ McCarthy stuff got me, man. And I've been the Bo Nix guy the whole way, but like that was shocked me.
They're not all head coaches are made equal in that, like back in the day, were you ever going to see Vic Fangio in his sweatpants making a media tour? Of course not.
No.
So our coach is all about that. All right, we got David Yonkin in here. I see the Broncos making a big move in free agency. Who do you think it will be? I see Bond being re-signed.
I agree. Bond's going to be re-signing with the Eagles.
I think he's going back to Philly. I think he had a one-hit wonder season where he had a phenomenal defensive front, as we saw in the Super Bowl, and that catapulted his season to be incredible. So he's going to get paid. And I think the fact that we learned today that Drew Sanders is going back to inside linebacker and that Alex Singleton, from what we're told, is going to be the guy. He's going back to his green dot roots. I don't foresee us making a big splash in inside linebacker, even though my heart really wants it. I'd love to stop the Band-Aids of that position, but we're going to do another Band-Aid. What do you think of that positional group?
Oof. I put a post probably last week about where the best idea would be to spend the money at for either linebacker or safety, because that's where I think the money is going to be spent.
Yeah.
And from what you're saying right now with Drew Sanders coming back to inside linebacker, maybe, I don't know, Alex Singleton coming back. I mean, I guess they owe it to him. I don't know. With him being injured, I don't know. Like, that's hard to say. That's not for me to decide, I guess. But
yeah,
one of those two positions, that's where the money is going to be spent, in my opinion.
Sure,
I would spend it at linebacker. Just because, like you said, it's been just like the offense. The linebacker position has been awful. Coverage linebacker
for so long.
Yes.
Like, man, we haven't had it since Brandon Marshall, Danny Trevathan. Since then, no one.
If your safety is leading your team in tackles, that's an issue. Brandon Jones leading the team in tackles, that's an issue.
Dude, I've never been a fan of Josie Jewell. I like whoop-de-doo-dah. He was serviceable, but that's not some sort of and I get that the role of the inside linebacker is being diminished in the modern NFL, and especially in the Fangio system back in the day of zone coverage. I get all that. But at the end of the day, that is why we struggled so mightily down the stretch versus run-heavy teams in the playoffs and in the back half of the season in cold weather, where you start to the basics of trench work. We need to focus in on that, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
So
I agree with you.
All right. Want to roll down here, but I did want to ask you. This is an interesting topic that I think we need to broach at some point in Broncos country, and maybe some more clarity will be had post free as Broncos country. We performed above expectation last year, and I think it's only natural to maybe expect a regression from our overall team next year. And so I guess I want to gauge how deep that is, or if that even is a thing in your opinion, do you believe the Broncos have a new floor at 10 wins? Do you think it could just as easily be an 8-win season next year? Or do you think we're going to catapult to a 12, 13-win team? What do you think for next year?
Here's something that I've been thinking for next year, because wins and losses, it all comes down to context. How was those wins and losses? How did they come about, right? Was it 10-7? Like you were barely getting offense, scoring touchdowns, barely doing that?
Sure.
Or were you a high-powered offense, but you lost some of the games because you lost the one-score games because maybe the defense lacked on a communication play or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
So if we happen to have the same, say 10-7, but we raise that ceiling on offense and we're more of a respected team on that side of the ball, that's a win in my book. That's raising the ceiling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't really see us. I think a game or two more going into next season is the ceiling for this team. Okay. Honestly, depending on what we do on in free agency and not in the draft.
Sure. And like I said, caveat it with, the contingency of what happens in free agency and draft. I think absolutely. You look at the team on paper in June and your expectations may totally shift to next year. But I think you're onto something with the devil in the details, as they say. The record might not represent the trueness of the progression of this team. If we can look more gelled overall for the whole season of this offense, I would say that's a win, even if we match the same win total as last year. Because I'm going to be frank and I think honest, and if any Broncos fan would be honest with themselves, how likely is it that we're going to repeat the factor of being a franchise record in sacks, franchise record in team pressures, having a defensive player of the year in PS2. PS2 played out of his mind. Can he play better? Like there has got to be a drop off on the defensive side of the ball. And in the same breath, maybe there is. And you're a 10th ranked defense, but your offense does so much better than last year in their, symmetry that we maybe average another touchdown a game. And that makes all the difference. So I don't know, man. It's hard to predict, but I think we shouldn't expect the same results next year overall. We did this last year. It would be foolish to expect that again. Let's see here. Johnny wants to ask you a personal question here. In a staring contest between you and Prescott and Dak Prescott, the battle of the Daks, who wins?
Me, because Cowboys never win.
True. That is very, very true. I'm sure in the middle of that contest, Jerry Jones, geriatric Jerry, will run into the room screaming about some sort of, banana pudding or something old people talk about, fill in the blank.
Where there's
let's see here. Alex Smith in the house. What up, Alex? Do you want Singleton back?
That's a good question.
I don't. You go first. I got it.
Here's my view on it. Yes, but if we sign another linebacker that can cover, that's athletic, that can do that stuff. If not, you know what I mean? You're kind of like, I don't know. I just don't think it's
it was directed to David, and David says no, not really. And I would agree with you, David, because at the end of the day, even when Alex was 100% healthy at the top tier of Alex Singleton, playmaking ability, he's very limited in his skill set. He's very good at what he does. Very good. But I just kind of, and granted, he would be a hell of a lot better than Jared Stidham was, or not Jared Stidham.
Justin
Strnad was during, say, the Buffalo playoff game, where it was just apparent we were lacking a thumper.
And tip my cap to Justin Strnad for the fill-in he did. That was crazy, but
He
did better than what I anticipated. Miss Flowers.
Yeah, he overperformed. I mean, he's a special teamer, and he knows that.
Right. There you go. Yes.
But and I guess don't rule out a Barton reunion as well. Maybe Barton comes back. Who knows?
I would welcome him back. Yeah, he did pretty good. He played really well for what we paid him.
I think overperformed his value. I think he's serviceable, but he's not someone that's making a massive difference.
True.
So I don't know. There's a lot to be said to that. All right. Just to round out here, and Johnny says tapioca. I'm when it comes to puddings, I'm not really a flavor person. It's got to be right on the film on the top. If you're having actual like homemade pudding, it's not the flavor.
Banana cream pudding, baby. That's my thing. That's my jam.
What is yours?
Banana cream pudding with the vanilla wafers.
There you go.
Yeah, good stuff.
I like me some Niller wafers right there. Woo! All right, so let's see here. I guess, hey, State of the Union here, just open her up. Dak, you got any other topics you want to talk about, or just anything top of mind that you just find it irritating that you need a soapbox real quick? This is your opportunity, sir. Air it out to the internet.
I just think, and I know it'll probably never change, but when you're talking ball, just be respectful to each other, even if you don't agree. You know what I mean? Like, it's sad to see other people just go directly towards name calling online. You know what I mean? And it shouldn't be that way. We can agree and disagree and not have doing all that. So that's just my thing. My space on X is always safe. You can always come talk ball. Those for the viewers that watch this, and I'll treat you with respect as long as you treat me with respect, and we'll be good. I mean, there's always a block button, right, Jay?
True. So
Yeah, baby, yeah.
And I will tell you, as a frequent flyer in a lot of different communities, and I'm probably just as active in the NBA community as I am in the NFL community.
I see that.
Man, dude, the NBA community is toxic as hell.
Oh, they are. Oh my God, the Lakers fans. Ooh.
It's so much worse than the NFL community, in my opinion, at least.
I would agree. And I see Swiper Cam on X getting roasted by so many people, man.
Dude, yeah, man. It is entertainment to watch Twitter during Nuggets games, to say the least. And I will, dude, tonight's an important night in NBA, and I want to shout this out for anyone that is just maybe a casual basketball fan that just wants to dip their toe into the water. Watch Luka versus the Mavericks tonight. The Mavericks come into LA. The Lakers versus the Mavericks. Now, granted, it's going to be far more fireworks in the spring. I think it's like in beginning of March that Luka goes back to Dallas, but tonight's going to be interesting in itself, just to see the two matchups.
That's nice. It's going to be good.
For sure. Alex says he
try Franklin. You there? I think, did I lose you? You froze up. Well, thank you, Alex. I appreciate it. I think Jay's trying to get back in here. Maybe I'm.
Nope. That
frozen.
might be me.
Are you there?
That might be me.
Okay. I was just like, are you there, buddy? I was sending you smoke signals like Gronk was doing with the Broncos.
Switch us out. Maybe that does the trick, huh? Are we
there
back?
You go. It works.
There
we go.
All right.
We're back.
Sometimes, you just gotta, plug it out and plug it back in, blow on the cartridge, all
that
those
was
90s
quick,
tricks.
Man. Woo, with the quickness, Jay.
D-Rock, you watch your mouth. You watch your mouth, D-Rock. But, guys, I know that we've got somewhat of an abbreviated show here. I don't have a whole lot of other topics, to be quite honest with you. I mean, kind of, I just wanted to continue
on some good ones for sure tonight.
The praise of Bo Nix.
Yes.
to answer my own question from earlier, Bo Nix is the guy. We need to move away from thinking that the jury's out on Bo Nix, and we need to give him more weapons because, we need to make sure that the evaluation process is complete, and we need to be for sure. Like, we're all for sure. We should be for sure.
To me, he's a top 10, 12 in that frame, wherever you want to list him. I'd be happy with, but that's where he is right now in the league.
100%. I could give a rat's ass what the national media thinks. Ranking him
I know.
below May from New England is a travesty that needs to be rectified. Drake May is not anywhere close to what Bo Nix is as a finished product right now. And it's blasphemy that I have seen all the rankings basically of him ahead of him.
That's wild, right? That's so wild.
Redrafts or current rankings of current NFL quarterbacks. It's nuts. The disrespect Bo Nix gets, and I would anticipate that to continue because I think a lot of the national media and a lot of the other fan bases of teams looks at Bo Nix as a byproduct of the Sean Payton system, much like they saw Drew Brees and always discounted Drew Brees. And
that's true. But one thing what I like to say is, it's so nice to see Broncos Country united, man. Anytime that somebody clowns on Nix or like puts in a ranking that they don't like, it's just boom. Especially the locals, the like the DNVRs and the Lockdown Broncos. You got Cordy Rourke right away jumping in there. Patrick Chiotti on I forget that one dude, but you just see all of these guys. And then everyone's just like, you throw a piece of meat and it's all the dogs going at it.
We're protective of our own, man. We're a very, passionate fan base. And we know ball. Yeah. We're ball knowers. We're not just casuals. Like, we live and breathe this team and this sport. And I think we take for granted the blue and orange glasses that sometimes we have here in Broncos Country of that not every fan base is like that. Like, talk to an average Charger fan, you're not getting that. You're not getting that analysis. Talk to a Jaguar fan, you're not getting that. Like, those are all people that like, I might watch like 4 or 5 games a year, but I'm not in the nuts and bolts of this team. I could give 2 craps about who's the 3rd string guard on the team going into training camp. We care. And it's a big differentiating thing between our fan base and a lot of other fan bases.
We're just so lucky, you know what I mean, as a fan base. The amount of content creators and media members that just do such a great job covering this team, so
yeah, man,
gotta tip my cap, to you and what you guys do and everyone else, man. It takes a special person, so I got the utmost respect for you guys.
Yeah, dude, we appreciate it, man, and I'm happy to say that I'm a part of that, and so are you, man. You should hold your head high at that because
thank you, I appreciate that.
We're all a part of the community, and we all have a part, and we all have an opinion to speak. And to that, I kind of want to end the show with just a general Broncos Country and surviving clickbait season and getting through all the national media noise that is the combine. Stick to our guns and things will be all right, man. I'm super excited for the end of this week.
Me too. Can't wait till free agency, the draft come. It's among us, man, and it'll be here before you know it. You blink and it's gonna be here. So
yeah, man.
Definitely 2 weeks. Fun times to look forward to.
Free agency's like the hubbub, like we're going.
Boom.
But like the tampering season officially starts this week. Like this week is actually where deals get done. They're just not announced for then another week. And then another week is actually the official window.
Right.
So cold pops are being poured right now in St. Elmo's Steakhouse in downtown Indianapolis. And Dak, if you've never been to Indianapolis, if you ever get the chance, St. Elmo's, that's where the action happens. Shrimp cocktail, chef's kiss.
Put that on my bucket list, bro.
Big stuff, man. It's like down the street from Lucas Oil. So it is.
Oh, okay.
It is
good to know.
Spot to be. But Any final thoughts, Dak, to your first appearance? And I would say won't be the last appearance, but what say you?
Man, I hope to be on here. This was just a dream come true. I know it means a lot to me when you reached out to me, man. I was touched by that. I appreciate you, Jay. We've connected, and I look forward to having many interactions and being on the show again at some point. Thank you so much. I'm humbled for you to have me on, man. Thank you, Jay.
Hey, realness.
And thank you, John, as well. We appreciate you guys.
You're a real Bronco fan, man. And,
yes, sir.
Keep spinning those opinions, man, and keep pushing out that content because, honestly, I'll speak for the rest of us. We appreciate different opinions, and we appreciate as many voices in the cauldron of Broncos opinion as possible. So, man, just keep coming.
You.
Very much appreciate it.
Yes, I will. Thank you, man.
Speaking of cauldron of opinions and whatnot, please, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Go find our other shows. We have tremendous offerings coming out here on the Orange and Blue Network. Like I said earlier, we got Don Diaz and Bronco Libre throwing out the Broncos Talk on Wednesday, the Viva Los Broncos on Friday, and then obviously you got our flagship here, the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue, always coming to you on Tuesday nights. So please find all of our shows here on Orange and Blue, and please go over to our partnership station here, MHRT. They're rolling right now with the Whiskey and Nonsense show. We've got Cluster Puck. They've got so many great shows on top of, an hour before 5280. I love those guys, man. Cam Parker. I just.
Oh, he's good. He's a good dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Glenn Hauser.
Yes.
Obviously. We've and also just a special shout out, and I haven't said this quite yet, but Bronco Buzz, brand new, I guess not a new, but a new media offering on Fridays with Bronco Bill and Kona Spence. Those two are incredible personalities, great in Broncos country. I know Broncos Bill has been at it for a while with Broncos Breakdown and whatnot, but their rebrand looks awesome. Really enjoy their stuff. So go check them out on MHRT Network on Fridays. Let's see here. D-Rock, appreciate you, sir, as always.
Thank you, D-Rock. Thank you.
Very much so. And with that, folks, I'm gonna throw one more. But you know what, folks, with that, this has been the Orange and Blue Network presenting Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue tonight. So appreciate y'all being with here. Appreciate to our special guest here, Fanatic Dak.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Mile High
Salute, bro. Country. Yes, sir. Thank you, Jay.
Let's get her going. Let's go. In Bo, we know. Happy birthday, Bo.
Orange and Blue, we're here for you. Talking Broncos all day through. No stopping us, we're on the loose. Come join the crew, no bad news. Podcast vibes so fresh and true. Nothing rhymes with Orange and Blue. Catching up on all that we knew.